The games industry is at a breaking point. Studios are shipping faster than ever, but QA can't keep up. Bugs slip through, launches stumble, and players notice. AI might just be the lifeline. In this Encore episode, I sit down with Shaun Laker. He's the founder of Games Guardians and a veteran of Respawn, EA, and the Coalition, to talk about how AI driven automation is changing the way that games get built. And since we first aired this, things have only accelerated. Make sure you visit playerdriven.io to check out all the new and latest content that we've been putting out there. We have more people helping us now, so we got more news coming to you even quicker. And you can join our mailing list in case maybe listening to this stuff isn't quite your jam. So be sure to visit us, let us know what you think about AI, and enjoy this episode. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to give a quick shout out to my guys at the Pixel Movement. Are you a game studio looking to build a world-class team but tired of the same old hiring process? This episode is sponsored by the Pixel Movement. They've been helping game companies from stealth mode startups to AAA studios do more than just hire. They partner with you to create tailored hiring strategies, find and map top talent, and build the right teams to help you scale the right way. Find out how they can help you build your dream team by visiting thepixelmovement.io or by searching the Pixel Movement on LinkedIn. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Player Driven Podcast. Greg here. Today, we are joined by Shaun Laker. He is the founder of Game Guardians and has such a great experience at Respawn, Electronic Arts, at the Coalition. So many cool gaming companies. We're going to learn a lot about gaming, what happens on the inside of some studios, about Game Guardians, what they're doing. I'm really excited. Shaun, thank you so much for joining us today. Anything you want to say about yourself?
That was pretty good. Hype job, Greg. Thank you. No, I love making video games. I've been doing this for almost half my life now, just over 20 years. So excited to chat about it and dive into some of the questions you got here. You got some great ones. So yeah, let's
I've
just.
loaded Shaun up with 2 million questions here, so everyone buckle up. But
And
before we get to any of those,
I'm
okay,
severely underprepared for the record. So
very
we'll
good.
have fun
Being
and
unprepared is
both.
the best. It means you're gonna freak out and be on your A game. Um, Before we get even started into it, what was the game that you played that kind of clicked in saying, "I want to be in this industry. This is what I want to do."
It was definitely okay. Yeah, awesome question. Definitely Duke Nukem 3D, right? The pipe bombs and all the graphic violence. Let's just be honest and call it what it was. And particularly the like modding system. So that was the first time I got into like tweaking a game was Duke Nukem, and they had like con files, I think they were called, and you can modify like all the core weapons and enemies and just have fun and see. It's like a little tinkering factory. It was incredible. So that I would say that would be where it kind of all started for sure. I tried to make a paintball mod, actually. I think Duke Ball. We called it Duke Ball. Yeah.
As Duke Nukem was what, like mid '90s, right?
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so how does one even start to do modding back then when the internet it wasn't as big as it was back then? How do you research this stuff? How do you tinker?
Holy, how did I even know those things existed? Great question. I think there was still we had. Do, did we have the internet back then? I'm pretty sure.
Barely.
Yeah, I think I had some access to it, and I learned what those files meant. But I think the devs also put them in a really accessible spot, and with really like plain readable English ways to tinker. So it would like it plain in plain English listed out the weapons and some of the enemies. So it was basic stuff, but I would credit the devs, I think, for maybe uh, doing a great job of like serving it up to players. But you're right, like such a weird time to like how to even discover the opportunity to do that. Gosh,
Yeah, because
yeah,
I,
that's
I I would play Doom 2, and I remember I found cheat codes, and it changed my life when I found these Doom cheat codes with like no clipping or anything. And it's just like thinking back then, like how did they figure this stuff out? Was it like the old Prima guides? You would buy them at EB Games or wherever it was, and figure that stuff out.
totally. What was it? My house was filled with Nintendo Powers. We got like
Nice.
I wish I kept them all. Gosh, that would have been cool. Nintendo Powers was like our original magazine, and then I moved to graduated to PC Gamer when I got into PC gaming. But those were kind of my, I guess, non-internet print media sources for sure.
So you have such cool experience. You've worked on such notable franchises and games that most people have grown to love over these years or hate after time. But um, How did you first got into your position doing QA? Can you kind of explain to me how you actually got into the industry when that time began?
Yeah, super thoughtful teacher started it. I think it was about 13. My gym teacher says, Sean, you love video games. Do you want to tour EA? Because EA was based out of Vancouver. She was friends with somebody who worked there. So I won't do any specific shout outs, but two very helpful people who introed me to the idea of that job line. I had probably no idea what I'd be doing otherwise, in all honesty. He took me a tour of EA campus, EA Burnaby, and I was like, "Okay, doing it, working here." And I think like six, I was going to go do schooling to do 3D. And then some QA roles popped up about 6 months out of high school. I went for it and I got in. So yeah, that
How
was
was the QA experience?
the in 2003 era QA.
Is it like Grandma's Boy? You ever see Grandma's Boy? Was it
It's probably the closest it ever was to Grandma's Boy. Let's put it that way. It was special. Like honestly, some of my best friends still from that period and oldest friends from that period. But it was called the International House of QA. And it was at the bottom floor of the big campus, and it was like one open space with a ton of cubicles, and it just smelled of pizza and other smells. But it was a pretty magical time. Like it was EA was blowing up, and they hired a bunch of really cool, fun people, and we were just testing games and having fun. And yeah, it was pretty great. That was gosh. I started on James Bond, Everything or Nothing, and tested a little bit of Tricky and a little bit of NBA Street, I guess. It was a pretty sweet little era for the games that were being tested.
That's awesome. Those are you're speaking to my childhood here, and I love it. It's prime gaming on the N64 back then.
Totally, totally. Yeah, we were just talking about Battletoads the other day with a friend. Yeah,
It's great times. You know, you kind of wish you can go back in time and replay those games when you were a kid. You didn't have to worry about DLCs. As long as you had some cheat codes, you're good to go.
yeah. Nintendo Power is ready to go. I got to be honest with you though. Like I have a hard time even still focusing on retro games. You know, even my attention span has changed. You know, like I go back and play those, and they don't.
They don't
Nostalgia's
hold up,
there,
huh?
but yeah, you know, I got to admit, like, you know, we give like kids a hard time for not loving our old games, but you know, it's
We played
tough to
GoldenEye
compete.
not that long ago, and I still love GoldenEye, but it's just not what you remember it being. You know, you have the
No,
one stick, you don't aim with the other stick. It's just like this was peak gaming, and it still kind of is, but it's also not.
we had one guy in our friend group who knew all the spawn points and would just throw proximity mines at all the spawn
Love it.
points. So the first person to die would just, yeah,
Keep dying.
repeatedly.
Lovely. So, looking at your LinkedIn, right? First one I see here is the coalition, right? You're at Microsoft, you're at EA. I don't know how to ask this question. So, I guess you went to
Which
many
one was
different.
the best? No, I can't answer
I mean, we're gonna get to that.
that.
We're gonna pry it out one way or another. But every studio operates differently. You hear from the outside looking in, right? Like Microsoft, maybe they control their franchises too much, and or maybe that's the EA problem that people have always talked about. EA has too many hands in there. Then you hear BioWare, so one thing or not the other. I don't want to start any speculation, any rumor stuff
No,
like
sure.
that. Can you tell me about kind of the things that you've learned from the different studios? You don't even have to name the studio, but kind of what are those learnings that you learned working for a AAA studio?
Yeah, and I am a sucker for AAA, for sure. So, you know, we had a really special setup of the coalition. Like Rod was brought on as, you know, him and Cliffy were the OGs of Gears, right? And Rod was very much given all the space needed to start the studio and build the game. So, um, I think I've had very positive experiences, mostly because I've been fortunate to be on games that have done well and performed well. You know, I think when things get tougher, that can change, and rightfully so. Like any business would need to be discussed if you know not working. So I think I've been lucky to see the brighter side of things, just due to the quality and caliber games I've worked on. Because it's you know when things are going well, a la Respawn. Respawn is another great example where they just know how to make great games, right? So let them keep doing it. It's another good example where I've been really lucky. You know, I've heard things where that can change, but really it comes down to, you know, uh, is the product profitable? Is the business profitable? And that's can dictate a lot of how your situation is going, right?
You have most of your roles seem to be based around producer. Can you explain to us kind of what is the role of a producer in a studio?
Good question. Because producer has evolved for people like me, for sure, as kind of like this early 2000s producer type. Um, Back then, there wasn't product managers; those didn't exist in our space. There was kind of designers, producers, DDs or project managers, and a lot of times the producers were the designers. So it's kind of this very foggy area of ownership. It was the dream role, right? Because you kind of get to talk games and just solve problems and kind of do it all. Like it was very different 2005 2006, I think, the producer definition. And some studios still have that role, but it's rare, I would say. uh, and because there's the product role has exploded, right? Product management is, and rightfully so, it's makes a whole lot of sense, is everywhere now, from live services decisions through marketing. So it's yeah, I think a lot of what that producer role was kind of cannibalized by this new role of product management. But they still exist. But I would say majority is producers are development directors or project managers. I think across the industry is the standard you'll find now.
It's funny. I'm hearing more and more. Like I went to school and I failed C++, and I was like, screw this. I can't go into gaming. But the more I hear, people are project managers, product managers, right? Like people that are running these entire games may not know how to code. They just know how to do product management. They know how to handle a whole bunch of teams, make sure the teams stay aligned, they hit their deadlines. And it's fascinating to hear how it's very reminiscent, not reminiscent, it very much matches other industries and how they're set up as well, right? You could go into fintech, you could go into e-commerce, right?
Right.
They have product managers, they have all that. Gaming is the same thing, except they call them different titles. And I think it's fascinating. That's one of the reasons I love this podcast, is that you learn that these are the skill sets that these people use. And it's just fascinating to hear how these games are made.
And there's a ton of variety in the product role. There's technical product managers. There's non-technical. Yeah, it's there's, I think, a giant spectrum of definitions across that itself now too. So for sure, product is an exciting role, and especially with how things are going, and engineering being an interesting role to go after in the future. But there's always going to need somebody who's setting a goal, so to speak, and product has been that. So yeah, great space, I think, to get into with how things are changing for sure.
So, can you talk about some of the games that you have worked on and maybe the experiences around them?
Sure. Where to start? I'll talk about my second big gig, which was pretty special and still like the proudest piece, I think, which is the skate franchise. So I got really lucky, and after working on SSX on tour, I was asked if I would want to go work downtown at EA Black Box, working on a skateboarding game, having come from the snowboarding game, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So a punk kid going downtown to the Sweet Studio in this really cool production role when skate was like a blue box guy. We called him the blue box guy, skating like a prototype world. It was yeah, really neat. Meanwhile, we're on the top floor of the Price Waterhouse Cooper building, and like all the suits are getting off all below us. It was awesome. Yeah, special time there for sure.
I bet, and I know all the internet's been buzzing recently about the skate alpha tests that have been coming out, or beta tests. I don't know what they're on right now, and I feel like we've been waiting forever for that game. Are you still in contact with any of these guys, or is it all new studio basically at this point?
No, some of the like Cuz and Darren are still leading the charge, who were on the team back then. There's some new faces and old faces, and the team has evolved over time for sure too, I think. But yeah, I'm excited. I haven't played it. I haven't been hands on yet. I'll play this year if it's going to come out. I'll maybe poke some friends to get access. But yeah, they're doing it the right way, right? Which is a free to play format for a game like Skate, make it super accessible to get into, right? Yeah, I'm excited for them, and I think they've got like this last week or two, they got some really great coverage and traction. Like I saw some really good numbers engagement. So yeah, hoping good stuff for them, because that's good for Vancouver too, right? Skate
Plus, it's
does
good
well.
for skateboarding, man. I feel like we're
Totally.
coming into like a second era of, not second, right? But in the gaming world, a second era of skateboarding. Tony Hawk's coming back, skates coming back.
Totally. And yeah, the Olympics thing was always something they were hanging on to. That the idea that the Olympics was going to represent skateboarding now was a big deal. So yeah, for sure. It's action sports is always a tough one to sell. At the end of the day, I know some marketing people who would agree with me. But I think times are also different now too. Like it's and with the legacy that is skate, I think they got a really good chance to pull in a bunch of players for sure.
Well, you were also at EA. You worked on the community side of Plants vs. Zombies, and it's a game that's near and dear to my heart. I've loved all of them, from the PopCap ones to the shooters, and I think they're fantastic games. Was it a major or drastic difference to you when you start working on community in a game versus what you did previously, or did it all kind of seamlessly fit?
Well, I guess the role I had on PBZ, there was executive producer and then myself, and I kind of functioned as I did function as the lead producer across the title. It was because I'd come from Gears of War, right? And having been front lines for that game, and community is great, but it's also a game of chainsaws to the face. So like coming to PVZ and then being asked to contribute to the community stuff, be representative on Twitter, we did our, what do you call them? I guess not podcasts. We did our live streams every 2 weeks through launch, or every week through launch. That was kind of fun. Gosh, like the community was so sweet, and everybody was nice and like supportive of the devs. Like it was like this safe haven, I think. So like I got lucky to be in this really beautiful, safe space to put myself out there, because it is. Um, uh, I give some advice, which is as a new producer or product guy, whatever girl, whatever you want to be, like um, it's really tempting to put your name out there and be a representative, but it's a pretty big thing, right? Like, it's a pretty big risk. Uh, think about it. Make sure you really want to do it, and what it means to put yourself out there. Because yeah, it can be a bad thing too, for sure. And guess what? They're not paying you extra for it. So be cautious is all I'd say, for sure.
Yeah, it's tough in the world of the internet. Even like I'm introverted at heart, and like every time I have to post a picture of me or a video of me, I like kind of cringe on the inside. It takes a lot to be able to get over that hump, especially when you're representing a game, right? All of a sudden, people are associating you to a game. It's just like, all right, I'm kind of the front lines of this, right? Like we always talk about this with community managers. Like they are the front line of your game. Like they're hearing the
Yeah.
crap, they're hearing the good stuff, right? And you got to filter through that.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to represent things that are completely out of your control, one way or the other, right? And that's
Mhm.
not fair. That's not really fair. But a good community manager is gold these days, for very obvious reasons. And like Respawn had our rock star team, because even managing a game like that is super complex, and its community. So yeah, good community management is make or break, right? Like, I mean, name me a toxic community that has a game that's successful right now, or at least trending well. Like
Mhm.
it's tough.
So I want to talk about Game Guardians, but I have one last question that will lead us into that. Is
Okay,
from your learnings over the years, I always like to talk about pillars. I learned about the concept of pillars on kind of, this is where we're steadfast, this is what we're all about. Did
sure.
you learn anything from these studios on kind of the right ways to run a company versus the wrong ways to run a company? And did you bring any practices that you've learned with you, or things that you want to avoid? Like, hey, we're going to avoid crunch, right? Stuff like that.
And as it would as it would apply specifically to Game Guardians, or just in general, or
I guess you specifically, because I'm assuming you represent Game Guardians.
yeah, no, CEO is what it says on LinkedIn. Still trying to
It's weird, right?
figure out what that means. Yeah. Okay, so let me think about that.
Yeah, loaded. See, this is why I sent him 2 million questions, and this wasn't one of them.
No, like I said, I think I've been winging it my whole life, Greg. Let's why stop? Why stop
Yeah,
there?
no, you know, it's It's different when you're under the gun of the question, right? Like, what are those best practices or worst practices?
Yeah. Well, okay. So in regards to how has my experience in games maybe equipped me to start Game Guardians? I guess is one way we could look at it. Uh, so one thing I've told a few people is like I've got bad karma as the like POC in the studio to like be pitched, and I was tough. I was a tough cookie, so I feel like I got bad karma. Other people have said think of it more positively. You have a strong system about what gets through and what doesn't, and utilize that in sales. So yeah, it's trying to figure out how to really come into a studio, explain the value we bring, why we help right now, and give us a shot. Right, like that's my life right now. Is talking to studios and making sure we're solving the right problems and let us solve them ASAP, please. Because yeah, we've got tech, we've got we're pilot ready. So we're just looking to secure those first three here in the next couple months.
I love it. I think it's super exciting. You're in a fun spot and you have great experience with it. So I want to dig into this, but I'm going to do my little fireball round where I'm going to throw some random questions at you
I like
and see
Fireball.
what you
Sure.
got. Ready?
Yeah, ready.
What is the game that you're currently playing?
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It is spectacular.
Oh, spectacular. You're playing on PC?
Yeah, PC. Yeah,
All right. I went Avowed. I feel like you choose one or the other right now to
totally.
eat up your time.
Yeah, our Discord is debating the two as we speak. Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast?
Coffee, three coffees.
Boom, 3 coffees. Black? How do
No,
you take your...
no. Sugar with milk.
Okay. What is your dream vacation?
We did it. We just did Europe. We did Amsterdam, Berlin, Munich for Oktoberfest,
Nice.
Cologne, and then we did Krakow, Poland, which was beautiful. We want to do more of Krakow. We want to do Thailand. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I've had a few people just come back from Thailand and everyone loves it there. So you might come back wanting to move there.
Hey, maybe Game Guardians will allow it. We'll see.
There you go.
I like it here. I like it here in
Yeah,
Vancouver.
right. What is the last show or movie you watched?
Last show. I just finished Silicon Valley,
Oh,
which
nice.
yeah, which I'm kind of late to the game, but yeah, just finished it last night actually.
Cool. All right. That's all I got for the hot seat here. Nice and easy.
Oh, that was easy. That wasn't
Yeah,
that
I know. I kind of run out of questions. I should
hard.
write these down. I just wing them each time.
That's cool. That's cool.
So tell me more about Game Guardians. What is Game Guardians?
So, Game Guardians has been shaped over the last 7 months. So, we started in September, and I've been exploiting my Rolodex and talking to as many individuals as I can, from like junior testers to directors, VP, and C suites, trying to figure out where we can bring value and bring it fast. Uh, every time I talk to folks outside of game industry, they're shocked by the lack of structure for tools around QA and automation, and especially shocked that with all the excitement of all that compute out there, why there isn't a better solution yet. So, with that research, with my fabulous co founder and CTO who has experience in AI, machine learning, and computer vision, which, beyond just the last 3 years is pretty spectacular, also. So, we've been working together on this. I love games and game industry and game dev. So, yeah, I think we've carved off a great little niche here in no code automation. And we're using AI agents. So, that's, we think, a novel and potentially patentable solution here. And yeah, we're just hoping to pull as many people on board this year. The bigger, the better, and solve problems. And yeah, hopefully at the end of this year, we're ready to explode. That's the goal.
So you're focusing on QA, right? And making the QA process easier for studios.
Correct. So Game Guardian's primary, here's the major pain points. Automation itself is often a big house of cards, or there's a unicorn at the studio is able to maintain it. These live services games just stacking up content. Every release is adding a new character, adding a new map, and QA needs to test all the old stuff plus the new stuff. Now there's more old stuff, and it's just nonstop, right? And the third is that this is actually impacting the bottom line. Like people are missing bugs, escape defects are causing issues, performance memory launches like Spider-Man is causing problems. Even in AAA of AAA studios like Respawn, we made boo-boos and mistakes that that should have been caught, that really should have been caught, and no fault to the humans. Our QA was great. So yeah, that's where we're really hoping to come in, is do the really tedious inhuman testing, and we think we do it better than humans anyways, and we do it cheaper. So that's the space we're attacking.
I agree with you, and we'll get hate on that. But the truth is, AI is improving by the day, and tools may not be up to snuff. But again, tomorrow's another day, right? And if you're not going to learn how to use this new tool, you're kind of going to get lost behind.
Well, we hope to empower humans.
Mhm.
Like there's a principle from the Toyota Processing System (TPS). It's called Jidoka, and it's about human in the loop. So since the beginning, we've been using this principle to uh, create our workflows, because an AI is never going to be able to do the full end-to-end human job, right? That human is still going to need to be able to say for the foreseeable future, this is what looks good, this is what is okay, and having an agent just work really cleanly with a human and really effectively is where we hope to succeed.
Yeah, I love that. I think humans should always stay in the loop. I think it's important. I'm thinking of like Iron Man, right? Or maybe Batman's a better example, right? He's super strong, able to do what he needs to do. It just
Totally.
enhances him with all this other optional equipment that he has, right? And there's no reason a community manager, a QA tester can't be in that same boat, right? Let's make them superheroes and give them more tools in their arsenal. It's not only good for the studio because the agent can do more, but the agent's going to learn things better, right? I remember my first job as a tier one support rep, I probably reset hundreds of passwords. That didn't teach me anything except how to reset a password, right? If we
Hmm.
can automate that easy stuff, right, it can let people who want to aspire to be more to kind of keep learning and honing on those skills that are important to them.
Oh gosh, Greg, I'm going to put you on the sales team, Greg. That was great. Totally right. The super empowered local QA, because we're going to compete with the new trend, which is outsourced QA and relatively cheap. In other parts of the world for sure. There's a bunch of great studios and they do good work. There is challenges as developers to not be on the same time zone, to have these barriers of communication, and arguably humans aren't seeing the issues they should be catching anyway in these tedious tests. Like, good luck if I made you review 400 things and told you to catch every single issue you see, you're gonna fail too, right? So yeah, we're gonna go head to head in a way with these other solutions, but we're also keen to understand if maybe we can empower these vendors too. So yeah, a lot of exciting opportunities for how we apply our solution.
Putting on that entrepreneur hat, right? You were at Respawn. How did the concept of Game Guardians come to be? When did you start tinkering with it and decide, you know what, now is the time?
Yeah, well, I was at Respawn for 4 years, and I got caught up in that layoff that happened last in March. It was there was they handled it great. I got a great severance and chance to take the summer off, so and the option too, which was nice. So I took it. I'd been working hard and a little burnout anyways, so timing was great. Courtney and I, my partner and now fiance, had a great
Congrats.
summer of camping and trips and travel and stuff. And then I started looking at the market, and there was other people who I consider smarter and better looking and all that other good stuff going for the same jobs as me. uh, I love AAA, and I wasn't seeing the roles that I really wanted. So I took a bit of a leap and decided to figure out what I could do as a startup. A couple different ideas were kicking around, but this QA space has always been one that I've been really excited about. So yeah, after the summer, I kind of really honed in on what I could do. And gosh, I see all the people being successful in my friends group from high school doing trades and stuff like that. So I was thinking, like, how could I do a trade for games? And a software as a service is as close as it gets. So yeah, we just started really exploring. I've got a few patents under my name, so I know innovation, and I think we've got, as mentioned, novel. I think we've got a patentable solution and application of how to use AI to clean the gutters, so to speak, and do it really well. So yeah.
So so you came up with the concept, you were tinkering around with it. What's the first thing you do?
First thing I do, like now and in the day, like at the
No,
beginning.
like, you decided, you know what, I'm going to go for this. This is the right opportunity. You build a business plan. You just say, screw it. I'm just going to start building something. Kind of what's your thought process on how that works?
Yeah, awesome. Good question. So, the thing I've been told was a good thing that I did was immediately just start market research. Right. So, the Mom Test. Mom Test is a very famous book for how to do interviews. For those who don't know, it's like, Mom, I'm going to create this app, and she's like, Oh, that sounds great, sweetie. It's going to be great. And then you make it, and she's like, Well, I don't really use apps. But it's essentially don't load the deck when you are chatting and interviewing with folks. Like, what are your problems? Tell me about them. Tell me more. Tell me more about that. It's so easy to like come in and influence those chats, but that's been a huge boon, like understanding how to do proper interviews. And that's probably was just chatting with QA and folks like, what problem do we need to solve here? Apparently a lot of tech startups don't do that, which is shocking to me. And two is Y Combinator. So I signed up on there and didn't think it was going to be bearing fruit, but it was worth it. And then put a bio on myself and what I was looking to start and the kind of expertise I was looking for. And I met my co-founder and CTO on Y Combinator co-founder match, Tinder for co-founders, essentially, or whatever modern dating app should be referenced these days. So yeah, I'd say like intense market research, and then really fortunately matching with a founder that that we seem to have this great chemistry. It's been amazing.
I guess Sean's engaged now, doesn't know the dating apps anymore. It's just all gone. All that knowledge just flushed.
We met on Hinge. I think Courtney and I met on
Nice.
Hinge. Yeah.
Um, what's been your biggest struggle as a entrepreneur?
Oh gosh, you want to take up the rest of the time? It's like we're really lucky. There's like a lot of excitement in this space, and we've got some momentum. So I think we're really fortunate, but that also comes at a cost. I'm a very uh, uh, I don't. It's hard to unplug for myself. So I think something goes well, my weekend's rocking, and I'm thinking I'm nonstop thinking about where it can go and what we can do. Tough meeting on Thursday. Courtney, low impact this weekend. Recovery time. It's tough, and I need to be better at that. But yeah, not having the ups and downs permeate outside of day to day is one I'm trying to be better at for sure.
This is a good comment because I took a look at myself the other week and I realized that I wake up and I'm on my phone, and I come to work and I'm on my monitor, and I come home and I'm watching TV, and then I'm playing
Yep.
Xbox, and then I'm back on my phone, right? And I'm probably on my phone for 95% of the day, which is extremely unhealthy. And
Yep.
it is hard to unplug, but unplugging is just as important as is working, because when you unplug, those creative juices can start to flow again. You can't be interrupted, or maybe you can, and you can kind of have a little bit of freedom. And I think it's, again, as any founder would say, they don't want to unplug. This is your company, right? It's going to be
Yeah.
what you're going to build, and it's up to you. But again, burnout, you can burn yourself out, right? How do you try to force yourself to unplug? And if you do unplug, what are these hobbies that you might have that allow you to unplug?
Yeah, and candidly, like burnout, gosh, I've been in the throes of burnout a few times in my career, right? Like it's tough when you're front lines shipping games, working 6, 7 days a week. Like it's real, like mental health is very challenging at those times. So it's something I've struggled with for sure, and something I'm trying to be better at. And I think I've gotten better. But yeah, candidly, it's I think a problem for everybody in these roles in games. Like, oh, you want to be here in this big, cool AAA spot. It's high pressure. This is what we're doing, right? So it's kind of comes with the territory, but it gets harder and harder as the months go on for sure. What do I do outside of working? We just got back from a ski trip. That was pretty fun. Courtney's a great skier. We've been trying to play a little tennis. She's taken lessons. I promise to never let her beat me. Beer league hockey as a Canadian. I play twice a week. I've been with the team for almost 20 years.
Nice.
And it started as a means to play hockey. Now they're all, I'm hoping a vast majority of them come to the wedding in August, which would be great. Yeah, almost 20 years with the same team is absurd. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
seriously.
and we spend as much time in the parking lot as we do the rink.
Yeah, I bet.
Really fortunate to have that group, and it's also mostly industry folks who can all relate to this chaos. So it's really awesome. And then I skate Tuesday morning, 7:30 a.m. So get my butt out of bed to go for a
Nice.
skate with. Yeah, so hockey's a big part of it. Uh,
Canucks
yeah,
fan?
listen to not right now. No, Canucks are hurting right now. It's tough to dedicate 2.5, 3 hours to watch those games right now, especially
I
with
get that.
all the craziness. So no, not currently a Canucks fan, which is probably the first time I've ever said that. Yeah.
And it's filmed. Wow.
Oh shit.
Um, the first time we spoke, you told me one of your biggest struggles is that you're not a salesperson. And I think you're completely underestimating your ability to sell, right? First of all, you work for a handful of major AAA studios, right? Not that many people have that under their belt. You probably have learnings that you may not even remember in your head that until some core memory triggers it, right? When it happens, is that how do you? I mean, even before this, right? You said the one thing you do have been doing is you take out that Rolodex, right, and you start reaching out to everyone. That is sales right there, right? You're outreaching them, right? Like, how do you identify a struggle and how do you work on it to make it better? And I don't even know if there's an answer to that question.
So let's talk about sales, right? And yeah, fair enough. Like I've been doing sales ever since I was a producer, right? We're pitching ideas and we're in
Mhm.
rooms and we're pitching to designers or to artists or to executives. So thank you for the nice comments. And it's a kind of different spectrum of sales, but I've kind of been selling ever since I got into this industry. So thanks for the nice comments. Um, so I'm learning, and I think there's different. What I've learned is the sale changes. Am I talking to a QA lead at a studio? Then they want to hear a certain set of things and value to them and their team. They want to do more human testing because they're tired of the tedious stuff. They're less worried about money. They want to make sure that their game is solid, and reliable. If I talk to a director, they want to know that this is a real practical solution. It's going to be easy to integrate. It's not going to be a pain in the ass, and it's going to save them money. So I've been, trying to figure out these pitches and angles for, the different audiences. But at the same time, my pitch should be, unified. So I'm kind of learning how to talk about it and discuss it and pitch it with or without decks, with or without demos. I love showing demos. I recently showed a demo and I got way too excited and clicked through it too fast. And yeah, I'm even learning about that. Right, I was just so excited to show the demos that I recorded all weekend, and yeah, I freaked out and clicked through too frantically. But yeah, learning stuff like that.
I love
So
it. You're talking about customer profiles. Now, I would actually argue that your pitch shouldn't be standardized. It should have, we used to call them ideal customer profiles, ICPs, right? You sell into a
mm,
producer, you sell into a head of customer support, you sell into the CTO, right? Every pitch is different. You have to understand
right.
what the goals of the person you're talking to are as a salesperson, right? Hey, this is my customer support rep. They really care about their average handle time and their metrics, right? So you want to make sure you pitch that. Then you go to their boss. They're worried about the cost. All right. So we got to change our pitch here because this person's different. I think, and you're already identifying them, right? Like each role has a different sale. I think the next thing to figure out is who is actually the buyer, right? Maybe it's
Yeah,
not worth talking to
exactly.
this individual because they have no power and they're not the right buyer. So maybe you need to focus on this. And I think, I mean, even from where we last spoke, I mean, it sounds like gears have been turning and you've been building this out and it sounds awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, even when did we chat? Maybe 2 weeks ago, a week and a
Something
half
like
ago.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd. Like the speed of and which things are going is absurd. But yeah, continuing to refine and focus. You mentioned some of the other challenges too, and focus is a big. It's easy to chase the dog with a poofy tail. For sure. My partner in CTO is brilliant and helps keep me on track when I maybe want to sway a little bit, but we're small, so staying focused is super critical there too.
Yeah. The industry itself is kind of going through a whole change, right? I mean, AI is a big driver of this, for better or for worse, depending on how you want to look at it. Games, I think, are fundamentally changing. We have a lot more mobile games that are easy to reproduce and recreate, and then you have these AAA titles coming out. There's this rise of the indies. You've been in here for almost or for over 20 years now, right? Or I can't do math. Close to 20 years
Yeah, you're
here,
right. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, what of your learnings historically? Well, how am I going to word this question? Kind of, where do you see the industry going? Are there any of the old practices that should make a comeback that maybe have disappeared? Like, I don't know. How do you feel about the future of gaming?
It will always exist. It's going through fundamental changes right now, and probably a lot of it is about money and revenue. It's becoming harder to be a North American dev. I think that's really clear for a lot of folks right now, just due to the costs and what it means to make a product. uh, there was a really brilliant, I think, what is it? I think I have it up here. The state of video gaming in 2025, by Matthew Ball. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but it's worth a read, and it's going to say essentially what I'm saying, which is development is moving away from North America. And in a lot of cases, and this is maybe not said in the deck, but an observation I had with some friends recently is that like Vancouver was a worldwide hub for talent and IP, right? Uh, and there still is some really exciting products being made here. But like honestly, a lot of the studios in Vancouver are servicing other teams and IPs. There's not a lot of unique IP in the city right now, and that's troubling, right? Because we're just all servicing a machine, and there's these brilliant people who could be off making the next best thing or next best indie or what have you. But I can't blame folks for wanting a stable job working on a service right now, right? Like it's a good safe place to be, and that's great. But like for the health of the industry and North American devs is like use AI and write a bunch of code, get your prototype stood up. Uh, uh, you know, Find that balance for how much art you're willing to generate versus real human artists who I love and adore and think need to stay forever. Yeah, it's such an exciting time to break off and make something right now. Indies tough. It's and getting funding for indies is really tough. So figure out how to bootstrap or something and get some players in. Would be the strategy I'd suggest. But yeah, it's kind of going lean and mean for the next little bit. If I was more talented, that's probably what I would have done. In all honesty, but yeah.
So I wanted to kind of roll back to what you said a little earlier again about the Rolodex, right? You reach out to all these former coworkers, colleagues, friends. Do you have a set of discovery questions that you typically ask them? Kind of what's the goal you're trying to get at?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I had a script. I had my mom test approved script. Essentially says like, and then a couple of good tips I learned that I'll be happy to share. But it was tell me about QA. Tell me about your pain points. Tell me about the solutions you do know about. So these really standard. Tell me what hurts. Tell me what hurts right now, right? And that's was the basis of those interviews. And as I started to get really good at saying, I know what hurts. Those interviews shifted to be more targeted to feedback on Game Guardians and the specifics I needed to learn about. So I haven't done that script in a long time, to be well, like months, I guess. But yeah, it was really based around that. Tell me what hurts. I'm not going to say anything. You're going to tell me. You're going to give up as much info as you can without me saying a peep. And the hot tip is at the very end of each one of those, can you give me somebody else to talk to? And you usually get one, if not two. So it's kind of an easy way to keep the ball rolling. And everybody's been, I don't think anybody has said no. Like somebody's been like, oh gosh, I can't think of somebody. And that's totally fine. But yeah, hot tip, end the call asking for somebody to reach out to. And I've had like potential clients come out of that. I've had great research calls come out of that. Yeah, hot tip.
I love that. There's two tips that you just kind of spoke through that my old manager used to always tell me, and I loved it. One is always ask for favors. And
Mm.
one favor, just be asking for a tip. People love to give favors. And if they really love who you are, they'll do more than a favor, right? So you should always go into a sales pitch expecting to, not even a sales pitch, a conversation, to ask for 2 to 3 favors, right? And they may shoot you down, and that's fine. But if you don't ask for these favors, you're not going to be able to see any of that. And I think it's
Huh.
important because, again, it's people like helping people, right? It's goes against what people might think,
I
but
like
it
that. Yeah.
truly shows you who your network is and how you can build upon it.
And what resonates with that too is that people like the kindness from folks willing to help and go out of their way to help has been super surprising and mind blowing. So that rings true, and being maybe just upfront about it and honest of what we're building, I think could really resonate. So that's yeah, love it, love it.
And there was another one, but now I can't remember. This is why I should really write more things
It
down.
was my rant. It was about the maybe about the follow ups, asking for the follow up meeting.
I don't know.
Maybe
No, it wasn't that. I don't remember. It will probably come back to me towards the end, and I'll come back again.
no worries.
Um, I think it's really great stuff. I know what it was. One of the best sales tips I heard was that what you did, ask them what their pain point was. Right? We used to sell to customer service, and they would work weekends. So if we figured out a solution that allowed them to have their weekends off, if you're talking to that sales or the support manager, be like, hey, how would you like to have your Saturday back? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care how much money this product costs. If you're going to give me my Saturday back or my weekend back or this back or this pain point is hurting my nights, right? I can fix that. That is like the ultimate sales tool because people care about their own conveniences for the most part more than other
Totally.
things. So if you can give me my conveniences back and remove a headache, it is such a value add to a company.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that a lot. I'm gonna steal it. Thanks.
You're already doing it, right? Just asking them what their pain point is and then flip it. Be like,
Yeah,
all right, well, I can help you save that time.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's just eloquently put. Great,
Yeah.
well done.
Um, I'm getting close to the end of the questions I want to ask. I'm going to cut this part out, but is there anything else you
Mhm.
want me to set you up to talk more about Game Guardians or?
Uh, yeah, maybe you could ask me like, hey, I'm a studio wanting help from QA. Like how could we essentially tee up like, the
Yeah,
come
sure.
talk to Sean about your fucking QA problems.
So if I was, I guess the question is going to become more of who's your ideal customer. But if I'm
Yeah,
starting a
love it.
studio, right? How do I know it's time to start looking for QA? What's kind of the bell that goes off that says, "Hey, you probably need this"? Because I'm willing to venture that a lot of indie developers don't even really have that on their mind out the gate. So when's the right time to start thinking about QA and looking for something in QA?
Yeah, awesome question. And there's some studios starting up in Vancouver right now going through that question. It depends on the game. It depends on the size of the team. I can tell you a few things that permeate through all stages of dev, which is like build health and build breakages. Like having outages of 2-3 days where you're not getting a new build, QA is not testing new content. A big or small team is devastating, right? That's one of the value adds we're promising is really great build health. That's one we can drive up, we think, because our agents can just rip on these builds through the day. So yeah, I think anytime that build health day to day is super important, where you're having a bunch of check-ins, things are changing and very variable, right? And that could be at any stage. But for these products that are being play tested often or have a very core gameplay loop, like gosh, then build health is something you should be looking at ASAP, right? Um, as time goes on, and depending on what platform you're on, you better start thinking about the literal endless number of devices to support out there for mobile in all the regions in all the different formats is absurd. Um, for these other bigger titles, if you want to make those big dollars, cross-platform is healthy. So, standing up early and ensuring all platforms and everything like that is going to be not a hot mess. Switch, I love you, but all devs who work on these cross-platform games do not enjoy supporting Switch just due to the performance differences. And I've worked on some great teams who've handled it very well, but even still, that's a challenge, right? So there's a lot of like fundamental product decisions that will drive your QA need, I think. But yeah, the earlier the better when it comes to you don't want to be chasing platforms post alpha, right? So yeah, I think this is where we think we bring a lot of value is a really empowered local QA is what we will bring for you. We're going to empower that local QA that is on your team, and we think what that represents. is actually big value for early devs too. Who can really set up these build health reports and get the most out of Game Guardians, even at that stage. I think is possible.
Yeah, I remember my old company, right? We used to have SDKs that we would deploy, and every build of Android, every build of iOS, right? Everything was different, and it was just became such a headache. And I remember I had to try and publish an iOS app for testing, and I never used test flight. I'm trying to figure all this shit out, and just like, oh my god, like this is so much more complex than I thought it would be. Like the countries that you need to go into, right? Supporting the languages. Like I think people often overlook kind of how this stuff happens, and you hear people complain, why isn't this game available in German? Why isn't it like it's not just as easy as saying, hey, German, here we go, right? Like it takes tons of testing.
Yeah, and these, there are titles too that are maybe just on PC right now who are hoping to blow up on console, right? There's been PC titles that have been looking at doing that too. So totally, there's a lot of platform considerations, but at the end of the day, we're like, who needs our services? We're really hoping to hit the mark with mobile devs seem to be really loving our offering, but we're able to support all platforms, including VR, which is going to be exciting down the road. Um, but also live services, right? These games that are evergreen, obviously for selfish reasons, that's good business because they're continue to be a live product, but also because that's where we think we're solving the most problems is these giant, big live services that are just unwieldy, and especially not just the big guys and girls. It's the AA devs maybe that are punching out of their weight class and trying to keep up, especially for them, where a quick solution could and a value add could go a long ways, right?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of studios are on the verge of greatness, right? And they're trying to grow and they're trying to grow quickly, right? And like now's the time. So how do we make the most with our money, most with our time, and make sure we can scale quickly, right?
Yeah, just like everybody right now, while keeping butts in seats, which is not as easy as it sounds right now.
So, Shaun, the last question I have for you today is
Okay.
if you can go back to the Shaun that was making mods for Duke Nukem 3D and give yourself life advice, what would be the advice you give yourself back then?
Buy Bitcoin probably, but that's the obvious one. Um, yeah, for like Shaun advice, not all battles are worth picking. I think is one I think I needed to learn a little bit earlier in my career. Is some things are worth it, some things are not, and being passionate in these roles and this space, I think is great. But there's a line there that I needed to maybe better define earlier in my career. But yeah, don't not all battles are worth picking. I think, or pick them better. Maybe would be some advice to my young, eager self. Uh, let's see what else. Maybe prioritize a little more of my own time. I sacrificed a lot for this industry, and I love games. And I'm I don't regret the time I spent in them, but maybe some more clear boundaries would have been. Would have been one, just in regards to my personal time, and at the end of the day that probably would have allowed me to be more successful because I wouldn't have gone through those harsh burnout and mental health challenges, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a couple there, I think.
I think those are two fantastic points. One I often have to bite my tongue a lot is pick your own battles, right? There's times you just want to go off on someone or do something, right? At the end of the day, like maybe it makes you feel better for 2 seconds, but look at the bigger picture, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
it's just better to bite your tongue, walk away, just keep your head down, Uh, yeah, I think we're all guilty of picking the wrong battles from time to time here, right? But you got to get smarter over time and then just learn when to do it, right?
yeah, for sure. There's times and there's times. Yeah,
And then I love the other one, boundaries, right? We talked about crunch, we talked about burnout, we talked about all that stuff. And how do you disconnect, right? It's tough, especially when your hobby is video games and you're making video games, right? It's
absolutely.
like a
Yeah,
terrible cycle to be stuck. Well, not terrible, but it can be. It's just, hey, how do I separate time here so I have time for myself to work on yourself? Because at the end of the day, if you're not working on yourself, it's going to be a detriment to everything.
yeah, yeah. Literally everything. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Shaun, that is all I have for you today. Let us know where we can find you, where we can find Game Guardians, where we should find anything.
Well, I'm going to be at GDC, but this I think is going to come out after that, so that won't work. You can find out a little bit more about us on GameGuardians.io, just as it sounds. You can reach me, Shaun, at GameGuardians.io. I would love to hear from you. If it's just chat and QA, or if you think we might be a potential match for your studio, yeah, or if you just want to shoot the shit, I like that too.
There we go. Love it. Well, Shaun, thank you so much for coming out and having this conversation today. I love everything you're doing. I think it's cool stuff. I think you're a great person. I think you're going to be a much better salesperson than you think you're going to be. So do keep doing what you're doing. We'll have information to Shaun, to Game Guardians on the Player Driven blog. We'll be tweeting, or not tweeting. We don't tweet anymore. We'll be doing all the other channels about that. And again, Shaun, thank you so much for coming out today. And
Thanks,
I know
Craig.
we'll see each other at GDC, and this is afterwards. So I could say, hey, we had a great time at GDC.
Yeah, maybe we can edit in a picture of us right now doing an official meetup or something. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you so much again, Shaun.
Thanks, Greg. You're great at this, by the way. Congratulations, and yeah, look forward to seeing more from you as well.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.